Well, following yesterday's historic vote to remove Congressman Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House, the lower chamber of Congress announced a recess as leadership from both parties huddle privately to determine next steps. Now, Congressman Jim Jordan and Steve Scalise have both announced they would seek the speakership. Others may enter before a scheduled vote next Wednesday. But where does this leave the work of the House as the clock continues to tick on the temporary funding bill passed last weekend that expires November the 17th? Well, joining me now to discuss this is Congressman Jim Banks. He serves on the House Armed Services Committee, the House Committee on Education and Workforce, and is a member of the RSC Executive Committee. He represents the 3rd Congressional District of Indiana. Congressman Banks, welcome back to the program.
Hey, Tony, good to be with you.
Hey, and I also want to thank you for doing such a great job speaking on our military panel at last month's Pray Vote Stand Summit. Your comments were excellent, and we got a lot of feedback on them.
Well, I'm very honored to do it. I love being there. Such a great crowd, and to be with so many other conservatives. So thank you very much for having me.
Well, you have served in a leadership post. You headed up the Republican Study Committee, and the Congress now finds itself in uncharted waters, especially Republicans. Unprecedented situation. Walk us through the process that began last night after the chair was vacated.
Well, I went to the House Republican Conference meeting where former Speaker McCarthy announced that he wasn't going to run again, and that at that point, Patrick McHenry had already been appointed the acting Speaker of the House. Now, Tony, as you can imagine, this has never happened before, so many unanswered questions that couldn't be answered in that room last night. So the acting Speaker announced that on Tuesday of next week, we will have a candidate forum, and then the plan is on Wednesday to elect the next Speaker of the House. I don't know if that's realistic. I don't know if that's a time frame that will work. But what I do know is that the House of Representatives has come to a complete standstill until we elect a new Speaker. So it's important that we get this done. We need to get it done right. We need to elect a strong, conservative Speaker of the House who will fight back against the radical left and advance our conservative Republican agenda. I believe the obvious choice of who that should be is Jim Jordan, a proven conservative fighter who's always the one leading the fight for conservative causes in the Congress. Other good names that are out there as well that you and I know well. It just seems to me like Jim Jordan is the conservative fighter who can unify Republicans at this time to move us forward. I just think we have to get it done quickly, get it done as fast as we can, get it done the right way, and then unify the party and move forward.
I could not agree more in terms of the timing of this. It has to get done. But I want to be very clear. I want to make sure I have clarity on this. Nothing gets done until the Speaker there. Will the appropriations process move forward at all, or is everything on pause until this is resolved?
Yeah, as we understand it, per the rules, when a Speaker is vacated from the position, everything comes to a standstill. Nothing can work its way through the floor of the Congress. Now, we just last Saturday passed a continuing resolution. I voted against it, but it passed. That kept the government open. But now the clock is ticking. We're 42 days away from when that government spending package will expire, and then we have another shutdown fight. So right. Time is of the essence here to get a Speaker of the House installed. And this is really important, I think, to recognize. We need a Speaker of the House who's going to go into that room with President Biden and Chuck Schumer and be one tough negotiator. Yeah. And that's why I really like Jim Jordan for this job. He doesn't back down. He's strong. He's principled. And the Democrats fear him. I mean, that's why they've tried to literally destroy him over the past several years. They fear Jim Jordan, and that's why I think he would be the best choice for us. Here's what I'm really concerned about, Tony. If 8 Republicans and every Democrat can bond together to oust the Republican Speaker of the House, then every Democrat and maybe a different 8 Republicans can bond together to elect the next Speaker of the House. And this is what we have to avoid at all costs. I mean, if in that scenario, a very moderate, squishy, pro-abortion, America last instead of an American first Republican could be installed as the Speaker of the House with the help of the Democrats, and that will set us backwards in our cause of saving the country. That's why I think it's important that Republicans get this right, that we unify and come together to elect a Republican speaker, not someone who's going to work with the Democrats to destroy this country.
You know, Congressman Banks, I've spoken to a few of our friends that are possible candidates for this, and there's a lot of hesitancy. I mean, obviously not Jim Jordan, Steve Scalise, they're out there, they've made themselves candidates. But is there a sense that with Matt Gaetz basically wearing a suicide vest and pulling the pin there and blowing up the whole thing, removing the speaker, is there a sense that that's not going to happen again? Or is there a sense that this could be a perpetual thing, that we could see this over and over again?
Well, it certainly could. Per the rules as they stand today, it could happen over and over again. 45 days from now, if a spending package passes that isn't to the liking of those 8 Republicans or a different 8 Republicans, they could call the motion to vacate and we could go through this over and over again. That's why we have to have a Speaker of the House who is trusted, who all members can trust their word to move forward. I think what happened yesterday was as much about personality conflicts that have been developing even over the last 10 years between some of these members and Speaker McCarthy. We got to put personalities aside and recognize that this country is in great peril. What's going on in America today, because of what the radical left is trying to do to destroy this country, Republicans have to be unified to fight back against it. My grandpa always said the Democrats are the evil party and the Republicans are the stupid party. And we looked pretty stupid yesterday when we can't get together and move forward while the Democrats are unified and clean our clock on some of these big issues. So
I think
that's why I think next week is so important for us to unify and move forward as fast as we can with a strong conservative Speaker of the House, not someone who's going to go along to get along with the Democrats.
I mean, you touched on something there that I think is very important, because I've heard that in many of my private conversations, trust. And I think that it's essential in any relationship, but given the tightrope that the speaker has to walk, doesn't mean you have to agree, but you have to be able to trust and respect. And I think that was a major liability that Kevin McCarthy had,
especially with a handful of these members. So, it could have been a different scenario. It could have been 8 very moderate members who did. I mean, one of those 8 members yesterday, by the way, Tony, voted to oust Speaker McCarthy because Speaker McCarthy didn't put pro-abortion bills on the floor. So keep that in mind too. I mean, this was a mixture of issues. So we have to come together, recognize what's at stake. America is at stake. So we have to come together. The voters gave us a majority to be a check on Joe Biden and the dangerous radical agenda of the left. We've got to make sure that we live up to that, or we're going to lose the majority in a quick minute.
I agree with that. 100% agree with that. So very quickly, we're up against a break. Is this the sense, what you're expressing here, is that shared broadly throughout the Republican conference? This need to go forward to unify.
I think so. I hope so. I'm going to do my part to bring us together. A lot of other members who are respected across the board in the conference. I've been on the phone with so many of my colleagues today that recognize that yesterday was a bad look for our party, for our Congress, for our country. We got to come together, and that's what a number of us are trying to do at the moment, to bring us together over the weekend so we can march forward in lockstep next week.
All right, Congressman Jim Banks, always great to see you. Thanks so much for coming on today.
Thank you.